This week, we're discussing early reactions and fallout of Hellblade 2 and an acquisition by Nintendo of all companies. This is the Good Game, Bad Game podcast.
This is a song I wrote about the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. Good Game, Bad Game podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, and with me is a man who has microplastics in his balls, and so do you, and so do I. It's my co-host, Mike. Mike, how are you?
Not great. I read that last night.
Yeah.
And I said, how do I know?
I found it really funny that IGN had an article about it as well.
Yeah, that's where I saw it too.
Oh, okay. I had seen it elsewhere. It was just very funny when I was digging around, looking for some topics. IGN of all places. And I was like, how does this correlate to video games?
Yeah, it doesn't because they're IGN.
But it's okay. They only just bought up 95% of games media. So
Is that right?
yeah.
Maybe they'll start getting into the gaming news industry.
No, it'll be all about how Deadpool and Wolverine, best friends for life, is going to change cinema forever. What does the G in IGN stand for?
International good news.
General news.
General news, yes. Yeah. There it is. That's right. How did I forget?
Instead of the big G that we're all here for. I'm talking about the one, the only, gaming. Do you think I was gonna say God?
No. I thought you were gonna say gaming.
Okay. Anyway, how are you? How was your week in games?
Good. I, as promised, I think live. I don't remember if it was on the podcast or before we started talking last week, but my brother, 1S Chris of 1S Plays, was in town.
Mm-hmm.
And he had his Portal.
Mm-hmm.
And despite my mediocre internet, despite what I pay for, it actually did pretty well.
That's fantastic.
This was our gaming paradigm for the weekend. We played Sea of Thieves together.
Okay.
He played on his Portal at my house, streaming from his PlayStation in Pennsylvania, playing with me on an Xbox. There's a lot of moving pieces there.
The only extra layer I feel like you could have added was if you were cloud streaming.
So funny enough, I actually almost did that because I haven't played Sea of Thieves, I think, since the Series X came out. So of course I needed all sorts of updates. And usually you can stream straight from the Xbox. But if you have the game installed, it won't let you for some reason. I was going to do that while the update was downloading.
Gotcha. And I thought about it. How was Sea of Thieves? Like any issues doing the whole like crossplay with PlayStation and Xbox?
No, we had like a little bit of server lag every now and then, but it worked fine.
That's good. All right.
Like Chris would just send me an invite and it would literally come through on my Xbox because he had to sign in through his Xbox account.
Right.
So it was all really seamless.
Hell yeah. All right.
As it should be.
Noted. I will I'll have to get that. We'll all have to become pirates on the open sea.
Yeah, you should.
Be a lot of fun.
It's fun. It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
There's actually like a lot of decent randos. Like people just trying to go through and do their like missions and stuff. There's a bunch of dicks too, but we had this one Like we were just using like one of the base ships that you can get. Like neither of us own one.
Mm-hmm.
And this like big souped up boat came in, and we went over and talked to them because it's got proximity chat,
Mm-hmm.
and you could like they started like rowing towards us and then turned away. Like last second, we were on an island where like you can sell all your shit.
Mm-hmm.
We went over and talked to them because they were like waving to us, and they're like, "Yeah, we were gonna fuck with you, but then we saw you were in like the base ship, so we didn't want to." No thanks. So when they were off like unloading their ship, you can like find rowboats. I'm sure you can like buy them too, but
Yeah.
we're not at that point. So we found one on an island, and I dropped it from our boat and rowed over to theirs, and you can like latch onto the back of boats with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that, and I was just standing there. And they got on the boat and they didn't notice until like they started pulling away, and they're like, "Oh shit." So I went and did some missions with them
Nice. That's fun.
while Chris sank the boat. Our boat.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. It's one of those games where just so much stupid shit can happen.
Right. Yeah, that's
We would have
always
had
been
it
the
10 years
impression.
ago.
I know. I think about that all the time. Sea of Thieves. Even like Among Us.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
But I mean, we had
We should
Minecraft,
play
we had
it.
GTA, so
We should play Among Us sometime.
Among Us.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
We had a real kick of that on during COVID.
Did you? Thanks for the invite. I wasn't a part of that.
Yeah, you're right. It was basically just Justine and I playing either against bots, or we would like try to do it against people, but it's just a bunch of 7-year-olds making coups and just
Right.
killing whoever. So it wasn't exactly
I saw
fun.
blue vent. Blue vented.
Yeah, Blue's about to fucking vent.
You're my boy Blue.
But once you get like onto it, you just start doing it too and just start fucking with somebody.
Yeah, that tracks. I mean, I think the reason why like a game like Among Us calls out to me especially is because I love gaslighting people.
You can certainly do that.
I love convincing people that what they saw was not at all what they saw. It's my favorite pastime. So
It's so funny.
all right, nice. So you played Sea of Thieves, got to try out the portal, got to see it work.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else?
Not really. Played some more Switch Sports, of course.
Nice.
Keep those skills up.
Great.
Yep.
Nice.
But yeah, that was pretty much it. Oh, I did go video game shopping.
Ooh.
We have it's funny enough, a new retro store closer to my house than the one that I took you to in Syracuse.
Okay.
And they open a location. So it's like, oh, okay, I'll take Chris to it while he's up here. We get there and it's closed. And it's in like an old mall, and basically there's a Bass Pro in it and a movie theater. But they've started like renting out the retail spaces to like local people. So it's kind of cool actually. And we get there and they're just completely cleared out. And I was like, oh no, that lasted like 3 months. And it turns out they just already needed a bigger space.
Oh,
the
wow.
Same mall. Yeah. So we went in there and
Oh, so you like showed up to the location and it wasn't there,
empty.
but it was like in another section of the mall.
Yeah, they
That's
had signs
so
up that
funny.
said like they were by the food court now, which is the mall is very small.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went in there and they had like a really awesome selection, and their prices weren't terrible.
Yeah, that's cool.
I realized that I can still retire out based off of all the GameCube games I have, so that's good.
That's your
Um,
retirement fund.
yeah. So they had a bunch of like Pokemon cards and stuff too, and Chris bought a handful of them and
Yeah.
said they were reasonable. So he did that, and then I got my first ever Super Nintendo game. I
What'd you get?
got Star Fox.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we'll see. I've never played a Star Fox. I've never played a Star Fox game like in whole.
Mm-hmm.
I think I rented the one for GameCube from
Yep.
Blockbuster Video,
Yep. That tracks.
but never like fully played one. So I'm excited.
Yes. That's one of the games that I'm still on the lookout for. Surprisingly.
Oh, do you need one? They had more.
Maybe I'll take you
It
up
was
on
like
that.
it was like $25.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think mine was 19 because there was like one of the metal pins that holds it in the system was missing, but it didn't seem to affect it. So yeah, so next time you come up, I got to take you there because their selection is incredible.
Hell yeah. I love video game. I love shopping for video games, and anymore, I love the hunt of like shopping retro games. I mean, you can get gouged pretty bad, depending, but more and more, because I see people post online all the time, but I feel like they must be in like New York City going to uh, some really tiny place that just has, you know, the rarities, but then also hikes up the price more than what you could reasonably find them for, even like just like going through like eBay or something. But most of the places that I go to, I also find are like fairly reasonable. They're basically set up like a little bit bigger GameStop, and I'm sure they run like a GameStop in the sense that they'll, if you were trying to trade in some old stuff, they would slash you pretty good. But in terms of buying, I find that it's normally not too bad. It's fun. It's just fun to like kind of hunt through the stuff and find the games that you maybe missed out on.
Yeah.
Like case in point, Star Fox.
And it was one of those games like I wasn't even like necessarily looking for it. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really necessarily looking to buy anything there, but like you said, it's fun to shop and I got in there and I was like, "Oh, well maybe I'll get a Super Nintendo game because I don't like we got the Super Nintendo, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any because we didn't have one as kids." Um and so I said, "Oh, well, I'll pick up Star Fox." They had a bunch of stuff there, but yeah, never played it. Seemed like a good game to have for it.
Yeah, it's like one of the, one of the must plays for the system.
Yeah.
We have like a Goodwill that sells, that's like it's a Goodwill like run store, but it's like specifically for tech and stuff. So like
Really?
any donations that happen in like I would imagine the greater North Carolina area, but like it could be all over the place. We'll like go to these like hubs basically, and then there's only so many of these that just sell like old monitors, old
Hmm.
laptops, old like stuff like that. But they also sell video games, and um we were over there because it's like near the airport. I think we were dropping somebody off at the airport, and then on our way back, we'll normally just like pop in there and just see. Um, and a lot of times they're running like a buy two get one on like games under $20, so you can pick up like, you know, a couple of the old Assassin's Creeds or something like that, and like for real reasonable. But they had the Super Nintendo that you got, the like control deck one. That's
Yeah.
like low rounded and everything like that. And I was like, oh my god, I'm tempted. I'm so tempted. Because it looks so funky and I love it. But ultimately I didn't get it. So that's not a very fun story. I don't know why I shared that.
Oh, at least you found it.
I I've been playing the Super Nintendo a good bit, and
tell me about it.
Shelby and I just started playing Earthbound, and it's so funny because Creature, I think, is just what they were called, and now I think they're Creatures Inc. or something like that, and they
Pokemon
make
people.
the Pokemon games, right? Yeah, but they made Earthbound, or worked on Earthbound.
Really?
Yeah, and you can tell, like, it has so many OG Pokemon feel. Well, Pokemon has so many Earthbound feels. Really, I would say it's so funny, and actually really neat. And so we started playing that, and I'm really nervous that the save data might not be working. I'm really scared because I'm pretty sure when I got it and tested it to make sure it was like working and everything, I'm pretty sure there was a save file already on it. And then when we started playing it this past week, there was suddenly no save data, so I couldn't tell if I was just misremembering or what. So yeah, so tonight,
gotta replace the battery.
Tonight we're gonna be playing. Yeah, and I don't know. We'll find out. Moment of truth. I'm probably gonna turn it on right after this and see if the save data is still there. But I haven't like touched it. Like I've left everything like hooked up, and I haven't left it on. But like I've left everything hooked up because I think I was explaining this to you, like with my like gold, silver, crystal, like the Pokemon games. I was finding that if I didn't pull the game out, the cartridge out, like the save data would stay, but as soon as I pulled it out, the save data was gone. I don't know, something weird. So anyway, I haven't touched it. I'm leaving everything set up. And if the save data is gone, then I guess we'll just do like a marathon where I'll leave the SNES on, but we'll play like every single day until we beat it. So that way we get to experience it. Or worst case, I'll play it on like the Switch, Super Nintendo Online thing.
You could
or get it repaired.
Learn how to replace the battery.
Yeah, or do that. So true. So many options.
You should learn.
All right. Well, will you like FaceTime with me and like walk me through it so I can feel better?
The worst part of it is that you need to get their stupid screwdriver.
I'm sure I already have it. No, maybe not. It's like the one that's like almost like a socket wrench.
Yeah, it's almost like a hex, but they have like a weird rounded shape that doesn't fit anything.
Yeah.
I've had like 6 of them now, and I've lost every single one.
Naturally. But anyway, that's my little Earthbound story. So I'll report back next week on where we're at with that.
I've been really wanting to play it because I've been thinking about doing the whole like setting up a Japanese Nintendo account so I could play Mother 3.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be interesting because I don't know Japanese.
You don't?
Not well.
I don't know it at all.
I was doing Duolingo for a while, but now I'm just in hiding.
And the stupid bird is like knocking on your door with a baseball bat because you haven't been completing your training.
That's it.
Other than that, I just basically played MLB because I'm a loser.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into the news, shall we?
Yeah, probably before I lose internet.
Uh-oh. Don't lose internet.
I'll try not. I gotta be honest with you, I didn't hear like anything you said about your save data. So I was just kind of guessing with context clues.
Oh, well, that's good. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Good. Get it? Like the old Sprint commercials?
Got up.
Okay. So let's talk about Hellblade 2. There's some interesting stuff.
We're done. Sorry, I had to.
I feel like real quick, the thing I mostly wanted to touch on with Hellblade 2, I feel like I'm now personally getting gaslit because people are acting like there was no
Marketing.
yeah, did you see that?
I saw many comments saying that, and I was like, how big's your local rock? Like,
yeah, how big is it? Because I want to bash your head with it. That was insane to me. I was like, what are we doing here? What do you mean the marketing for it has been terrible? I feel like the only thing that they've been
it's the only surefire release I could tell you that Xbox was doing this year.
right. Right? Like, am I crazy? Anyway. So
Like, I guess they didn't do like ads. But like what video games do like TV ads anymore? It's like Call of Duty.
also I feel like
Man.
they did have some like commercials. Maybe I'm crazy. But like yeah, I'm with you. Like it's not like that's your best way to advertise. I thought that was insane. I'm totally with you. It's like the only thing I knew for a fact they were going to be releasing, and frankly, I was annoyed each time I saw somebody try to say that. Oh, how was I supposed to even know this game was coming out? And also, it's not like there's that much other shit coming out right now. Like, what other major releases are happening? You know?
Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty.
Like, thought that was insane.
I just think it's amazing that you also saw those comments.
Oh my god, dude! I thought I was going insane, which is the goal of gaslighting. So kudos to everybody. But some other interesting stuff came out about it. Apparently, it's already been discussed that Xbox has already had discussions with Ninja Theory about what their next game is going to be, kind of trying to like dispel any potential like studio closures and stuff like that, because obviously people were fairly on edge, especially after Hi-Fi Rush and or Tango Gameworks was shut down after a successful game such as Hi-Fi Rush. So a lot of people were kind of playing the whole, Hellblade 2 is coming out, and it sucks because even if the game comes out and is amazing, that means, nothing in terms of job security. So it sounds like this is like kind of like a way of, kind of reassuring that like jobs are safe. Ninja Theory still has a home in the Xbox family, stuff like that. And I just think it's also fairly interesting because for the most part, a lot of what I'm seeing about Hellblade 2 is actually like, it seems like it's pretty meh.
Yeah, I saw one right before we started talking today that it's like struggling to even hold 30 frames, and I guess I haven't really heard anything about the story other than it's short, but
yeah, I saw about it takes about 5 hours. What like that's not, that technically doesn't mean anything. Like in a box,
works great for me.
I was gonna say in a box, 5 hours means there's so much missing context there. You know what I mean? Like a game can.
They built the game like a movie.
Yeah. And I think like some people are saying like it's a 5-hour game that took 5 years. Like we knew this game was coming when the Xbox Series X was announced. And to your point, a lot of people are making it seem like it does play like a movie. Which again, like isn't, I mean, that's basically what PlayStation does with a lot of their games, right? Like they're just as much a cinematic experience as they are a gaming experience, but it sounds like this doesn't really like nail that split. But yeah, I've just been seeing a lot of people are like fairly disappointed in it outside of like the visuals, which were the thing that we kind of already knew were going to be amazing. It's yeah, I'm kind of shocked, honestly, and like sad because of it.
Have you seen any official reviews?
I've been seeing like I don't know if I've actually seen. I saw one. I think it was a Rash posted about how I don't remember the outlet, but they gave Hellblade a 58, but that same outlet also gave Gollum a 64, and I think it was kind of like he was calling out the hypocrisy of games media and like review scores and stuff like that, which is a thing that we've talked about plenty, and how none of it actually matters. Let me check Metacritic. That's normally like a decent gauge. I mean, it's sitting at an 81 on Metacritic.
The general news company IGN gave it an 8. So
I'm trying to look at like I love how it's like critic scores are taken into account for Metacritic, and it's something that I want to try and be better about when looking at critic scores, because like Xbox era is considered a critic score, and they gave it 100, and it's like, can I trust you? And like isn't push square like generally PlayStation like
yeah,
favorable towards PlayStation? I'm pretty sure they're considered a critic score. So like if I scroll long enough in here, like Xbox Addict gave it 100. It's like, what Xbox games haven't you given a 100? But I'm seeing other ones that aren't like. I mean, Game Informer gave it a 90. True Achievements gave it a 90.
I don't know if I'll do it by our next episode, but I will try it. Only $50. I didn't realize that.
PC Mag says Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is essentially an interactive art house action movie that combines potent gameplay elements with a visceral psychological journey. So, but when it comes to like the individuals, kind of talking about it online, I'm seeing a lot of people say that it kind of falls a little flat.
Well, I will try it and be the judge of that.
Cool. And you played the first one, right?
I played it. I didn't get through it.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you, and this is why I'm so reluctant. The first one bored the living hell out of me.
Well, this one. Oh, well, I was going to say, I guess this one could also potentially bore you. I was going to say all you have to do is watch, but that could be part of the problem, I suppose.
Yeah. Could be.
Well, yeah, definitely. Definitely doesn't help our case that neither one of us have played it. So,
yeah, I'll try. I don't know if it'll be by next episode, but
who cares? We'll forget that we even said we were going to do it by next episode. Yeah, I don't know. I was expecting much more fanfare, I feel like, for the game, especially given how much we saw it, despite people saying they had no idea it was coming out. But also, it's like kind of a time, I think, for you and I, at the very least, to celebrate now that the game is out, good, bad, or otherwise, because it means that we can look ahead to just a few weeks from now when, right, June 8th, I think, is when
8th or 9th.
Yeah, Xbox has their E3 showcase.
And Hellblade 3 is announced.
I will smash my PS5 if that happens. I will smash my PS5 and I will go out and buy an Xbox Series X.
I would say I'll sell my Xbox.
We can do a tradesies if that happens. I don't even want to joke about that. I'm looking forward to not seeing Hellblade. So if they show Hellblade, I will actually that'll be the final straw for me.
Yep. Spencer's sacrifice.
But they're sacrificing me.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sacrificing anything. Yeah.
Spencer's suicide. How about that?
Oh.
Hellblade 3. In-game.
In-game.
Yep.
In-game. In the GTA player menu. Scroll all the way down. $500. Bingo bongo. Anything else on Hellblade?
No. I don't have anything to say about it because I didn't play it.
Were you shocked by like some of the more meh?
Not really.
No, you're kind of.
I feel like we have already, like, you could have told me this game came out and it never did, and I'd be like, oh yeah. I just feel like we've seen it.
Yeah.
They showed it way too much. They left like no surprise for the game, is my understanding.
Yeah. Which is like the worst thing you can do.
I mean, you think about it, the game is, they're saying like between 5 and 6 hours long. How many hours of like previews for this game do you think we've seen?
We've probably seen collectively, if they showed it back in 2019 and you figure they do roughly 2 events a year or 2 major events a year, or they showed it at 2 events a year. That's 10 total events. Let's say conservatively they only spent 3 minutes on each. We've probably seen at least half an hour, which is...
I mean, they did like a 15-minute.
Yeah, again, I was...
showcase at
so
one point.
Let's say an hour. I mean, that's 20% of the game potentially shown off.
And
it might have been more than that, because you're right. I know they did longer showcases for it.
who knows?
Who knows? All right, let's talk about Nintendo.
They don't make Hellblade 3. Let's talk about Nintendo.
Nintendo dipped their toes. They were like, "Hey, we can play too. We can buy companies. We don't just hand out lawsuits in order to to acquire things. We'll buy companies." And I guess it's not that surprising because they bought something off of Embracer. But you want to dive into this?
Well, it's on the schedule, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm saying, like, do you want to take the lead?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
I didn't read the article.
All right. Nintendo.
Don't put me on the spot.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
I did read the article.
Nintendo acquired. Okay. Do you want to do it or not?
No. You go ahead. You can tell everybody how Nintendo acquired Shiver Entertainment.
Yes.
This is the company behind the Nintendo Switch ports of Hogwarts Legacy, Mortal Kombat 1, and more.
Yes.
Credit non-gaming
news site
website IGN.
Yeah. Which I feel like you and I both kind of believe this is like a pretty like telling. I think those were the words you actually used exactly as I look.
Yeah, I said verbatim. I did read that. I think it's pretty telling. We could just have AI read read most of our Discord chat. And that could just be the podcast.
Just realized it's Tuesday. You good for 8 a.m. tomorrow morning? And then a week later, it's just the same thing, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Couple Eddie Vedders in there. And...
oh, my God. Anyway, it is pretty telling. I think it's a good move to get anything out from underneath Embracer, but also my assumption, my read on this is that, with getting a company like this that has already specialized in porting some larger games, right? Obviously, I think wasn't it Mortal Kombat that like had so many fucking
It was
problems on the Switch?
awful. Yeah.
But maybe having a company have a bit more, hands-on and like better understanding of the hardware can have them better equipped to bring ports over so that, maybe um day one ports are well, I guess a day one port wouldn't be a thing, but like day one releases can be like better up to speed. Or if it does take a little bit of extra time to get a game over to the Nintendo console, it's running much better. And, ideally it doesn't take nearly as long as it had been taking. You think about like The Witcher 3 came out on the Switch. And then like, I don't know, 2 years later, the like next gen update happened and it like re-released on like PS5 and stuff like that. The game had already been out for like 8 years and was ready for a refresh, and it was only just making its way to the Switch in its base form. So you think about stuff like that, and with a new Switch on the horizon, I think this makes like a ton of sense, and I think it's a great move.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that this has to do with the new hardware coming out, and we know that um, hardware-wise, it's going to be way more capable. And I think people are basically saying at this point it's going to be like Xbox Series S level, which to be in what I assume is the same form factor as the current Switch. Like that's pretty remarkable. So it makes sense to have like an in-house company. I'm assuming they're just going to keep doing ports,
Right.
but they can have a little more control of which games and when get ported. Um, yeah, and it'll be cool to play Elden Ring on the Switch 2 in 7 years.
Right. Again, there's still going to be that, right, where it's like, oh yeah, this game, I forgot it came out. Well, I guess no time like the present to play it again because it's finally coming to the Switch.
Right.
So it kind of works. It can work favorably as well, and the idea too of like creating a way for people to play it handheld, which was not something they could have done before. Steam Deck does exist now, so there's that as well. But regardless, yeah, what you're saying too. This is yeah, at the very least, I've seen them say that it's basically going to be power wise on par with like a PS4, and a lot of people might turn their nose up at that, but also keep in mind we've talked about how the jump from the Xbox One and PS4 era to this current one doesn't feel like that much of a technical jump, at least.
Yeah.
In our hands, and so like now you're gonna have the power of that on a little tablet in front of your face. I mean, that, like you said, is pretty remarkable. And yeah, having a company or a studio that's like better equipped with like the hardware, I think is just a fantastic move.
Here's my wish for this whole thing. I hope that they got them and they're dedicated solely to porting the entire GameCube catalog to Switch 2 online.
That would be interesting, and it's very funny because my wife this morning asked me what we were going to be talking about. Please, no bull rat jokes. All right, it's tired. She asked what we were going to be talking about, and I brought up how Nintendo acquired a studio that specializes in ports, and she said, "Tell them to port Mario Baseball to the Switch." And I was like, "I don't think that's what they're going to be doing." Like, listen here, dummy. You're a girl. You don't know anything about video games, please. But yeah, I mean, I guess theoretically,
Okay,
right?
Harrison.
they could do. Excuse me, let me puff out my chest real quick and just tell you that you're a woman and you don't know anything. This is gaming is my space. Please do not inject yourself into my hobby.
Anyway,
can you believe that samurai in Assassin's Creed?
your stop.
What?
What?
Do I need to explain that I'm joking, you think? Or do you think it comes across?
No, it's gotta come across.
All right. I hope so.
Just
so.
Sometimes everyone
I get nervous.
Just like everyone completely like understood what he was saying, and it definitely hasn't gotten misconstrued at all. Anyway, I gotta be honest with you, like I really hope they're just a Nintendo to Nintendo port company.
That would be interesting, and that would be cool. I mean, there's plenty of I mean, Nintendo has one of the greatest catalogs ever. I mean, it's absurd. Everything that is under their umbrella, right? Like it's stupid when you take the time to like think about it. So I mean, it's one of the things that they do really well too is they capitalize on those things. We talk about it constantly, and how amazing like this whole like Nintendo Switch Online stuff is with the NES catalog, the SNES catalog, the Nintendo 64. They had a Game Boy, and like it goes on. So yeah, I mean, dedicate more attention to bringing that stuff forward. Why not? I can't wait to get some Wii ports. So I can play OG Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resort on my Switch too.
Well, they won't port those ones.
Why?
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 Because fuck them. That's why.
That would be interesting. My guess though is that won't be what they're for. My guess is that they will be dedicated to helping bring over more like major AAA players.
Yeah, I agree. The Nintendo to Nintendo port, like that's a very like wishful thinking thing in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming they're getting rid of like their cloud streaming platform for the new console, which if you even remembered that existed or know how to access it, because I sure as hell don't. I'm assuming that's going away, and they're just going to make better ports that'll run
natively. Yeah. Yeah, I think that tracks too. It's also, I kind of like this too because when you really stop to think about it, how important is it that I guess it's what I'm about to say is a little unfair, but how important is it for like The Witcher to be on the Switch? I'd argue not that important. I'd argue that like when you think of a Nintendo console, you have a very strong concept and idea of what it is you're looking to play on those consoles, and they deliver those experiences the best way possible. I then say that it's a bit unfair to say that because I think there are plenty of people who can view Nintendo Switch as like their complementary console, but that that's not realistic for everybody, obviously, and there are plenty of people where the Switch is all they have, and to deny people these other gaming experiences sucks. So I think like as a way to ensure that at least like the big hitters make their way onto the hardware, I think it's fantastic. But I also don't think it's like, I just don't think it's necessary to like ensure every single thing is necessarily playable.
Yeah.
But it's cool, right? Like, it's cool to put Elden Ring on a Switch and be able to play a game like that in a handheld state and stuff like that. So, you know, I think trying to deliver on like those specific ones is great. But I mean, I would be shocked if somebody's main console is a Switch and all they want is to be able to play Elden Ring and then every other Soulsborne knockoff as well. Like that would be shocking to me. But somebody wanting to have the Elden Ring experience, not that shocking. Like that I could absolutely believe that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that makes sense.
It does.
But
Well said.
Thanks, man. I try. But yeah, and I mean, I would hope that if they have a company in house like this, you can avoid instances like Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah.
And having that happen. Was Mortal Kombat 1 like a staggered release, or did it release day one on the Switch with the help of this studio? Do you know?
I really can't remember. There's part of me that thinks that it was staggered, but it wasn't like far off, maybe.
Right. Because I felt like it was. I mean, I feel like nobody's talking about Mortal Kombat 1 anymore, and I feel like I was seeing the Switch stuff while also seeing just general Mortal Kombat stuff, but I could be wrong. Either way, avoiding stuff like that is obviously huge, important, etc.
This is saying it all. I mean, as far as I can tell, it was released on the same day.
I mean, that's a step in the right direction in my eyes.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
considering you need to be like working with another company to
mm-hmm.
even get there.
Yeah. Day one of release is a huge step forward, because how many games have we seen need 4 or 5, a whole console generation's worth of years to make its way finally to like the Switch, right?
Yeah.
So day one, super important. Now it's just a matter of like day one and running well, you know? And this was just another great reminder, just in general, this story is just another great reminder that we are less than a year away from getting news about the Switch successor.
Yeah.
Which I'm really looking forward to.
Didn't they say in their most recent earnings call that it's going to be fall of next year that it's going to be released?
I only remembered seeing, in terms of a timeline, that we should get news by March of next year, because they plan to announce it within the fiscal year, and their fiscal year ends in March.
Gotcha. I thought I read something
about
maybe
the
I'm thinking of
release.
something else.
GTA is releasing in the fall of next year.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Which is great news, because I have so many games that I need to catch up on and play before GTA takes my life and soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotta beat Hellblade 2 by then.
I don't think that's going to be a problem, Michael.
You don't know me.
I do know you.
Hmm?
I rattled off successfully 4 times of playtime for you in various games.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
It's all right. It's the only impressive thing. It's the most impressive thing I've ever done, and so that says more about me. Anything else on the Switch?
Nope.
Anything else in general? Anything on your mind? Anything weighing heavy that you want to talk about?
Damn it, I can't ad lib anything. No.
Okay.
I was trying.
Sorry, I put you on the spot again.
Yeah. Jesus. Too early for this.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this week. Maybe I need to look at like a real calendar. I guess we probably have 2 weeks before the Xbox event, right? Does that track? Yeah, so maybe
2.5.
Yeah, so not next week, but this for the episode that comes out on the 6th, maybe we can do some like predictions and like things we're hoping to see from all of the events really that are going to be happening. So stay tuned for whatever the hell it is we're going to be talking about next week.
Something good.
I'm sure it's something good. All right. Well, that does it for this week. Thank you all so much for listening. As always, if you could leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to this podcast, it would be greatly appreciated. Just a reminder, we do have a YouTube channel where you could more easily leave us any comments. So let us know if you've played Hellblade 2. Let us know what your thoughts are on it. Let us know what you're hoping Nintendo does in terms of ports. Other than that, if you could share the podcast with a friend, that would also be greatly appreciated. And we'll talk to you next week.